Welcome back to another episode of Ty's Fishing Adventure. This is Ty. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about some crankbaits today. So stay tuned, guys, and we'll get right into it. Alright, what is up, guys? So today's video, I'm going to be talking about crankbaits. Just want to talk to you guys a little bit in regards to my setup that I use for crankbaits. And again, I don't know everything, but I'm just a little bit of what I do to try to help you guys out here and the stuff I like to use in my go-to. So you can kind of see most of it right there, but we'll kind of touch on it a little bit. So it's kind of just wanted to go over some basic things that I use typically for me, and of course I modify or tweak them as I need to, depending on the situation that I'm fishing. So but today I'll give you kind of what I typically use, my setup on the Potomac. This is exactly the stuff I use when I caught my 16 plus pound bag, which doesn't seem like that much for Potomac, but it's not. It's solid. All things considered, solid. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So for line, typically what I'm using, and pretty much on all my reels I have, is Sunline. Not necessarily the Crank FC. I use the Sniper. This one they've made specifically though for crankbait. So as you can see, designed specifically for cranking technique. This is the exact line I use, the 12 pound fluorocarbon. It's fantastic for what I'm trying to do. But I'll kind of see a little bit about the benefits they mentioned. Slicker, more abrasion resistant, and longer lasting. Great choice for cranking. Jerkbait, spinnerbait, vibrating swimming jigs. Additional stretch for reaction bait lures. So definitely recommend this Sunline Crank FC. I think it's relatively expensive compared to some other lines that you can get, and I'm sure there's some other stuff that people swear by. But this is my go-to every time I'm cranking. I have this on. I've cranked a lot with the Sniper too, and it's been just fine until they came out with this. Now I stick with that. So the other part of it, one of the keys I have is a Shimano reel. This is my curdao. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit, guys, but this is my Shimano curdao reel. The reason why I like this one though is the gear ratio. It is 6.5 to 1, so maybe a little faster than what most people do, but I just be mindful to slow down depending on the technique I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to rip it through a little faster, then I just go with what it has. But if I'm trying to slowly creep it along the bottom and then that kind of thing, that's one of the big things I noticed about crankbait. And one of the tips I'll give you guys here that really helped me is that I really stayed away from fishing crankbaits a lot in my bass fishing career, because I didn't quite understand the purpose or what it was they were trying to do, because I liked a lot of finesse stuff. A lot of guys swear they just throw a crankbait around all day until it gets bit and it lets them know what they need to do. I start off with a finesse approach, and honestly, when I changed my approach to throwing this crankbait first and kind of, as they say, like searching for fish, but I would actually be catching a lot of fish while I'm searching, it allows you to cover a lot of water. And then you can fish it like a lot of typical techniques. So if you go with like a stop and go, I kind of put this rod and reel and a crankbait in my hand, and I did not put it down. It was like the only thing I fished with for months at a time, like just that, just so I could get used to. Because basically once you start fishing it more, you can tell that when you got grass on it, when it's not running right, when it's coming through something, when it's coming over top of certain things, you can kind of start to pick up on all that stuff, and you'll realize when you're actually getting bit on it. That kind of sits in with your muscle memory. You kind of remember what it feels like doing this, what it feels like doing this, how it feels to burn it really quickly, stop it, burn it really quickly, stop it, burn it really quickly, all the way back in, hit something, hit a little tree branch, kind of pop it over the little tree thing. As soon as it pops over, boom, you get hit, and you're like, oh, okay, that's how that's supposed to work. So you really want it bumping into stuff, knocking into everything. If you're fishing the grass and want to come on top, you want it really kind of over top, but kind of tickling the grass in a sense. Definitely some keys. So what I recommend is, like I tell anyone with these techniques, just put it in your hand, Don't take your finesse, don't take your go-to. If you get in trouble and you're not catching fish, then you're just not gonna catch fish that day. But you really want to give yourself time to learn the actual technique, understand what it is and what it is you're trying to accomplish, and then stick with that. So I'll kind of dive right into the box here. That's enough of the yapping. This is some of my crankbaits I have. This one right here is the one that kind of changed my whole game. So this is my RBT custom baits. Dude, this thing, I'm telling you, this is what I started catching a ton of fish on. That color, that pattern, that exact, not the exact one. The exact one I did is in the Potomac River. So if you want to get that, you can get it out of Potomac. But these are my other ones. This one too, caught a ton of fish on that. These are from my buddy Water Warrior as well. He's making them too. So check him out. Check out RBT too. These guys are really making some good stuff, man. This one I actually painted myself. So check me out. My website's coming now. I'm just playing, guys. I don't have no website coming. Color wise, again, this is typically a go-to for your crankbaits is going to be chartreuse blackback. You can get away with these like pattern ones, bluegill, kind of shad pattern deal. You always want some stuff like that. Shad pattern, chartreuse blackback, these red ones. Again, to break down the actual crankbait, the lip on it will dictate how deep it goes in the water. So you have this one like that might run 2 to 4 feet, 3 to 5 feet. This one here will run 5 to 7, 7 to 10. It might even be deeper than that. Then you got a big one like this that'll run 15 to 20 or something like that. So it really depends, and you really want to kind of use it for what you're doing. So like they say, if you're fishing 5 feet, you want one that runs 5 feet, but you can get away with one that runs 7 feet because it's going to be banging into the ground, and you want it kind of banging into the ground. That's exactly what you want. Just be mindful of it. You will, they got some treble hooks, and you will get hung up and stuff. But typically with that bill and all that, they'll pop out, pop around. If not, what I do typically is I'll kind of hold my rod tight, and then I'll pop like you do with a jig. I'll pop the line, like kind of pop it, like I hold it like this. It'll be tighter, obviously. Then I'll hold my rod, tighten it all the way down, then I'll pop it, and a lot of times that'll free it up for me, and then it'll come out from whatever is stuck. When I've gotten a lot of them out by doing that popping deal. These things I added because I got tired of hooking my pants every time I go fishing, so I just picked up some of these. And as you get more baits with these kind of things on it, you might want some of these little plastic guards for the hooks, so you don't keep hooking your pants or your kids or your wife or anything that's around, because these hooks is sticky. So again, with this box I have a lot of different patterns. I kind of got them situated out by color to make sure it fits. My reds, my shad, my RBTs, I keep them in their own section because that's what I want to do. Again, you got different kind of bills. So some of those are square, some of these are round. Again, just pick the one that goes based on what you're trying to do. Typically when you're fishing these, I'll fish them anywhere, anytime, any day. I'll fish them unless it's an area that, I'll fish them on the river with brush and lay down, all that. Just flick it in there. You just got to be paying attention. You cannot, like sometimes I know I'm guilty of, and some people are guilty of, when you're fishing like a wacky rig or something like that, you kind of just pitch it out and just kind of let it fall, and you honestly start looking around at other stuff because you know it's going to take a while to drop and get down there. But something like this, no, when you pitch it out, you better make sure you're looking, because you can typically see, if you got a good pair of polarized glasses, you can see that there's a tree stump coming right there. So you might want to start to raise your rod tip up a little bit to make sure you can come over top, bump the tree, but kind of come over and don't get hung up and have to go get it and mess up your whole spot. So just something to be mindful of. You want to always be paying attention to this. As far as the bite goes, when you get bit with something like this, I've had a few where they kind of they'll bump it. So like it'll be, for example, it's kind of, sorry guys, foolishness. So basically what'll happen is it's coming by, the fish will see it, kind of like just whack it, like boom, and hits it. So when you feel something that feels like that, like you felt like it got knocked out of the weight, like it's swimming like this, you see it doing all of that, and then you feel something that kind of takes it off to the side of that, you might want to swing. Go ahead and set the hook. I don't really like yank like it's a jig or something. I kind of just lean kind of swing the rod to the side or swing it the other way, kind of lean into it, because you got all these hooks. Typically it's going to get it. Sometimes I'll set it pretty solid, but majority of the times I just kind of lean into it, and the hooks still penetrate. While the fish trying to get away, the hooks will get them. But if it's swimming and you feel it kind of bump, you might want to swing, because that could be a fish just whacking it, and you could catch them. That way I'll have it sometimes where it's coming and they'll eat the whole thing, and that's like a great day of fishing. If they eat it, they'll eat it, start to take off, and then you kind of can go. But you always, same thing, you always want to watch your line. If your line takes off one way or the other, be mindful of that. Again, if you get that little bump, something that feels like a bump, you definitely want to swing and get that fish, because I've only lost maybe 2 fish on a crankbait. It's been very, very rare. One was in a tournament. It was really bad, but really, really rare that you'll miss them with all these hooks if you know what you're looking for and kind of can tell. So again, just to recap here on my setup, these are some of my crankbaits I have. Again, there's a lot of really good companies that make the crankbaits out here. What I did for myself to organize, I made myself a crankbait box. These are the ones I typically use. So if I didn't mention them by name, I probably haven't caught a ton of fish on them. So the particular RBTs, I've caught a lot of fish on. Anything else in here, I can't say for sure. But also, I haven't thrown a lot of it yet. But I know for sure RBTs are where it's at for me as far as what I've caught fish on. Like I said, I haven't even thrown. I threw those maybe one weekend, because I don't like to lose stuff. And while I'm fun fishing, I don't want to lose some high quality stuff out there just fun fishing, or when I'm fishing from the bank and not in my boat where I can go get it. So this stuff hasn't been thrown all winter, because I'm not losing it from the bank until I go out my boat. Then I'll try. I'm not going to lose it there either, but just saying. Line, Sunline Crank FC is what I recommend. Rod, definitely big. This rod, don't say a rod doesn't make a difference when you're fishing for crankbaits, because this one's a specific crankbait rod. It's the 705 CB from Dobyns. I 100% recommend this rod if you want to get into crankbait. It's $109, not bad. This one's their 7-foot medium heavy action, moderate fast, medium heavy, moderate fast action. So this one basically has that, it can load up, man. Like it's when you get a fish, it'll load up. I can't really show you with one hand, but it loads up really nice, and it gives you all the opportunity in the world to fight the fish really, really well. So I definitely recommend this Dobyns. I'll leave a link to everything below, guys, so you can check it out. Again, I'm not an expert, so if you heard me say something that's crazy, you don't agree, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Rod, Dobyns Fury 705 CB crank. Reel, just get you one that is not a 7.3 or 8.1-1, something like that. Get you something that's a little bit slower. Rod, reel wise, this Shimano is fantastic. It casts a mile. It handles really well. Like I said, fantastic. Spool it up. I typically use 12-pound line. Sunline Crank FC for me. And then, like I said, get your favorite pattern. Try to match up the fish that you see in there if you can. If you see a bunch of shad, try to grab your shad, bluegills, if they're on beds, all that kind of stuff. I mean, again, you kind of got to try out stuff, see if color plays a role on that particular day. Sometimes it doesn't matter. I will say this though, I did fish with the RBT and was lighting them up during one tournament. I switched over to a green and black one, and I got one bite for the rest of the day, like one bite, because I lost the RBT. So I only had, and I didn't have my whole box and everything at that time. So I grabbed another one. And nothing. Dude, I literally wanted to just throw that thing in the river and just let it sit there, because I was like, this is a waste. I wasted my whole day, because I got lit up on this one right at the start, and I switched colors and it was not the thing. So you definitely, colors can play a role in this as far as what they're looking for. Again, with this, you're looking for a reaction, so you kind of wanted to, again, bump off of something, come by something, the fish hears that noise, sees something go whizzing past something, and then he follows it to see what it is, whacks it, boom, get him. Like, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. So it's definitely reaction. It covers a lot of water. You can search, make multiple. I'll make a ton of casts with this thing. A ton. You'll know right away if the fish are on the crankbait. That's the one thing. If you get in the area and you get around fish and you're throwing a crankbait and you're working it, you're gonna get bit if fish are there. If they ain't there, keep moving. Do not sit there and waste a bunch of time. It's not like your finesse kind of shaking a little worm in front of your face. It's not that. It's this thing's coming past them. Make multiple casts. If you do, you don't get bit, get out of there, go to another area, because you're about to waste your whole day. So keep moving if you're fishing, because you cover a ton of water. You can come back around to other spots, but keep going. keep throwing it with that. So again, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this with your friends if you think it's helpful. Leave me some comments below if you guys want to see some different videos of what you want me to see, kind of my setup on, or what I'm using. I'm not no pro or anything just yet, but I'm definitely want to share with other guys who are trying to start fishing, learn, get better. That really helps, so keep in mind for that. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate it, and thanks for watching. All right, peace.